He thought he was coming home to start over. After serving time in prison, all he wanted was a fresh beginning. Clean the garage, reorganize the house, rebuild his life. But inside a dusty fruit box sealed tightly with layers of tape, he would uncover something that would change everything. On April 12, 2014, in Pleasant Grove, Utah, a man dialed 911 with trembling hands. His voice was unsteady, confused, almost in disbelief. He told dispatchers he had found what looked like a baby in his garage, wrapped in plastic. He didn't know what to think. He didn't know what to say. He just needed police to come immediately. Officers arrived to find the garage door open and the homeowner visibly shaken. The box sat outside, taped shut. Inside was a small bundle wrapped repeatedly in plastic and duct tape. When investigators carefully opened it, they found the decomposed remains of a newborn infant. At first glance, it appeared to be a tragic and possibly concealed stillbirth. But as officers began examining the garage more closely, they noticed something unsettling. The space was packed with boxes stacked floor to ceiling, storage bins, old belongings, containers sealed and pushed deep into corners. And as they continued searching, they found another box wrapped the same way. Inside it was another infant. That moment changed the entire investigation. What started as a disturbing discovery quickly escalated into a full homicide inquiry. Detectives sealed the property and began cataloging everything inside. The smell in the garage had reportedly been noticed before by neighbors, especially during summer heat, but it had never raised serious alarm. Meanwhile, police tracked down the homeowner's wife, Megan Huntsman, who was living separately in West Valley City. She was brought in for questioning. During her initial interview, Megan claimed the baby had been a miscarriage years earlier while her husband was in prison. She described being alone in the bathroom, in pain, overwhelmed, and frightened. She said the baby had not been breathing and that she panicked. Instead of calling for help, she wrapped the body and placed it in a box in the garage. Detectives listened carefully, but something in her explanation didn't sit right. The timeline felt vague. The details were inconsistent. And most troubling of all, she seemed unusually fearful about going to jail, despite describing what she framed as a tragic stillbirth. As officers continued searching the garage, they discovered a third box, then a fourth. Each one contained the remains of a newborn. When detectives confronted Megan again, they informed her that more infants had been found. The shift in her demeanor was immediate. She hesitated. Then she admitted there were others. She struggled to remember exact numbers, blaming years of drug use and heavy substance abuse for clouding her memory. Methamphetamine addiction, she said, had consumed her life during that period. But eventually, under continued questioning, she revealed something far more disturbing. Some of the babies, she admitted, had been alive when they were born. According to her statement, she gave birth alone at home on multiple occasions over several years. She described moments of panic, fear, and shock. She said she was afraid people would find out she was pregnant, afraid of judgment, afraid of consequences. Instead of seeking medical assistance, she smothered the newborns shortly after birth. Investigators were stunned. Over the course of several hours, officers uncovered a total of 7 infant bodies hidden throughout the garage. Each was carefully wrapped, sealed in plastic, placed inside boxes, and concealed among household storage. The case shocked not only the community, but even seasoned law enforcement professionals who had handled violent crimes before. The sheer number of concealed births, the prolonged secrecy, and the methodical concealment raised chilling questions. Detectives then turned their attention to the husband, Darren West. He had been living in the home for years before his prison sentence and had recently returned. During questioning, he appeared genuinely distraught. When told multiple infants had been discovered, he broke down. He insisted he had no knowledge of the pregnancies or the bodies in the garage. He acknowledged their drug-filled lifestyle during their marriage and admitted their relationship was chaotic. But he maintained he had never seen any newborns, never witnessed births, and had no idea anything had been hidden in the garage. Investigators pressed him. How could someone not notice repeated pregnancies over a decade? He explained that his wife had hidden pregnancies before, sometimes revealing them late. He also admitted he had been heavily addicted to drugs during much of that period, which clouded his awareness of many aspects of their life. Forensic testing would later play a critical role. All boxes, plastic wrapping, and tape were processed for fingerprints. Every identifiable print belonged to Megan Huntsman. None belonged to Darren West. DNA analysis confirmed that Darren was the biological father of all 7 infants. However, no physical evidence linked him to the concealment or deaths. Ultimately, authorities determined there was insufficient evidence to charge him. Megan Huntsman was arrested and formally charged in connection with the deaths. In 2015, she pleaded guilty to 6 counts of first-degree murder, acknowledging that 6 of the infants had been born alive and that she had caused their deaths shortly after birth. She maintained that 1 child had been stillborn. The sentencing was severe. She received consecutive terms that effectively ensure she will spend the rest of her life in prison. The case left deep scars on everyone involved, investigators, family members, and the community at large. It raised difficult questions about addiction, secrecy, mental health, and how such events could go unnoticed for so long. But the big question is, how did she manage to hide multiple pregnancies and births for almost 10 years? It's mind-boggling, right? Experts later noted that concealed pregnancies, though rare, do occur. Some women experience what psychologists refer to as pregnancy denial, a complex condition where an individual may suppress or fail to acknowledge a pregnancy due to psychological distress, fear, or trauma. But even in those cases, the deliberate concealment and repeated acts over several years made this situation uniquely disturbing. Community members grappled with disbelief. Neighbors reflected on occasional strange odors but never imagined such a reality behind closed garage doors. Extended family members expressed shock, stating they had no knowledge of multiple pregnancies. For detectives, the emotional toll was significant. Interrogation footage revealed moments where even experienced officers had to step away to process what they were hearing. It was a case that challenged assumptions about family, secrecy, and the capacity for hidden trauma. The legal proceedings concluded with a clear outcome, but emotionally, many questions lingered. How did fear escalate into repeated fatal decisions? Could intervention at any point have prevented subsequent deaths? Were there warning signs missed by those around her? And perhaps most haunting of all, what was happening internally during those years that remained invisible to everyone else? True crime cases often focus on the shocking discovery, the courtroom verdict, or the interrogation confessions. But beneath those headlines lies a more complex web of human behavior, addiction, mental health struggles, and fractured relationships. This case from Pleasant Grove, Utah, remains one of the most unsettling examples of concealed neonaticide in recent American history. It forces us to examine not only criminal responsibility, but also the silent environments where trauma and substance abuse can thrive unnoticed. Even now, years later, one chilling thought remains. 7 pregnancies. 7 births. 7 lives hidden in boxes for nearly a decade. And if a routine garage cleaning hadn't happened that day, how much longer would the secret have stayed buried? Sometimes the most disturbing mysteries aren't the ones hidden in abandoned buildings or dark alleyways. Sometimes they sit quietly behind closed doors, waiting for someone to finally open the wrong box.